As a broke boy, trust me, YouTube doesn't pay. It can be pretty annoying to see something really cool get announced, all for your wallet to look at you and shed a single tear. Sometimes timing just doesn't work out. Tyler, the creator, announced Chromacopia right after I put a down payment on Sonic X Shadow Generations. Life isn't fair. This happens a lot, specifically with gaming. There will sometimes be a stretch of months where no games that really interest me release, and then there's Mario Wonder, Spider-Man 2, and Sonic Superstars releasing in the span of like a week during my Prime Broke arc. That hurt. It sucks, nothing else to it. Now, I'm gonna go on a bit of a prologue for this video. It's leading into the whole emulation thing, but it is a bit long, so if you'd like to skip past it, I get it if you do, then skip to the timestamp on screen. Totally fun if you want to. When I was younger, and well, still now, I really wanted a game collection. I was really inspired after seeing Scott the Waz's video on the Game Room. I wanted that really badly. At the time, I had amassed a decent amount of Wii games for the 10 years I had it. A friend was gracious enough to give me his 3DS completely, so I had a few games there. I found a lot of PS3 games for dirt cheap, and I had a handful of Switch games. I already had a bookcase type thing in my room. This was around, say, 2018, 2019. I was able to proudly display these games I had on the shelf. If I find a photo, I'll put it up on screen. And while not a lot, I was really proud of it. Hey, knock knock though. It's nearing 2020. My mom lost her job, and because we live in a small town in Georgia, her job opportunities made it impossible to, well, find another one. We bit the bullet and used the money we had to move to Vegas. Not to gamble, let me put it out there, that Nevada is actually a real state and not just the Las Vegas Strip. There's actually pretty good job opportunities here, trust. So we moved, and in my new room, there was way less space. That meant no shelf. Fuck. I had been building this thing for a while, so it was pretty disheartening to see it kind of go to waste. All the games were chucked in the closet, and that was that. A year later, due to landlords being landlords, we moved yet again a few miles away. And wouldn't you know it, it was even smaller. At this point, I had moved to a PC where most everything I wanted was on Steam, and so there wasn't really much use for my games anyways. So, I sold most of them to get some money. That really sucked, but, I mean, I still wanted those games, you know? I mean, I didn't have a personal vendetta with them or anything, it's just I needed some money. Continuing a game collection just wasn't worth it, but it may be a compromise, but let's say hypothetically, I could get those games back, say on my PC where everything is unified for completely free. Enter the world of emulation. Someone at Nintendo just woke up in a cold sweat. Emulation can be defined as the acceptance phase of being broke. You don't own a game made about 13 years ago? Well, now you do! With the help of the World Wide Web, you too can feel like a dark webmaster for downloading Mario Golf. You see, if I wanted to officially play Mario Golf, I would first have to buy a Nintendo 64, make sure it works properly, get a controller, get Mario Golf, make sure all that works, and if it doesn't, that's more time wasted or money for repairs, and all that is gonna run you at least over $100. Or I click a link on the internet and get it for free and play it within 5 minutes. Interested? Not too fast though, you gotta run through the emulation basics. 0th off, like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. First off, terminology, but like dumbed down. Emulators essentially act as the console and ROMs act as the disc or whatever. The easiest and greatest starting point for emulation are gonna span from the NES to the Wii. Fun fact, the emulators themselves are totally legal, at least from the NES to the Wii. It's a whole loophole where technically emulators alone don't play the games, along with most ROMs in that span too, they're pretty legal. I get it, it's boring, I wanted to commit a crime too, but we're gonna have to start out legal, Jimmy. Now, the only thing where things get tricky is with some PlayStation consoles. You see, you need more than the emulator, you're gonna need the BIOS. What is a BIOS? Which obtaining those is very illegal, except there's actually no protection on obtaining these ROMs, so hypothetically it would be very easy to obtain them without any trouble, or so I've been told. Once you've got your emulators, which I won't even try disclosing on this channel, on an unrelated note, I have a Discord server link in the description. It's as simple as just configuring your keyboard or controller, putting a ROM in, and there you go, Mario Golf, just as the founding fathers intended. Emulation for most of these consoles work pretty well most of the time, if not a hiccup here and there. Just consult some game compatibility guides to see which games are up to snuff. Also, it's pretty easy to make your own game collection, and better yet, unify all of these libraries with a little thing called RetroArch. Compilation of a bunch of different emulators, meaning all your emulators can be under one roof alongside your game libraries. And once you've got them all together, it looks pretty nice, I gotta be honest. Now, I mentioned that emulators didn't really exist for consoles after the Wii, PS3, Xbox 360 era, and you'd be correct. However, that doesn't mean you can't emulate on those consoles. That's right, baby, Inception, woo! Especially on Xbox consoles like the one in Series X, these things are emulation beasts! Most emulators work pretty damn good, if not flawlessly in some cases. The way of getting them up and running is a bit more complicated since you're gonna have to transfer some stuff from your computer to your Xbox, but that's about as complicated as it gets. Also, you can totally emulate on a Quest. Now, don't get me wrong, while all of this is awesome, it's still not being played on authentic hardware, you know? These games aren't running natively or anything. So, what if they were? Introducing console modding, a subgenre of emulation. Console modding is much more than emulation, but we're just focusing on that. Did you know it's surprisingly easy to mod your 3DS? Better yet, did you know it might be even easier to mod your Wii? I did. If you follow the Wii Hacks guide online, you can have your console modded seriously in about 10 minutes. It's pretty cut and dry. With the modded console, to dumb it down, you can essentially just import Wii ROMs over to the console and play them natively. It even gives you this small little email thing telling you how much you've played. This is really as authentic as it gets. Also, you can play Sonic Mania on the Wii completely natively. No, it's not a mod. No, it's not a recreation. No, it's not being streamed. It is literally just Sonic Mania. The thing that a lot of emulators lack is that feeling of authenticity. It doesn't really matter, but when you play these games on a PC, you kinda lose some of that charm and feel. Playing Super Mario Galaxy on a Wii on a PC will never feel as nice as playing it on an actual Wii with a Wii remote and the whole shebang. Don't get me wrong, it's totally an aesthetic thing, it doesn't really matter, but having done both, the aesthetic really does go a long way at making the experience, especially when it's that of the best console ever made, the Nintendo Wii. I couldn't recommend modding your console more, as that is the true emulation experience. But I get it, it's more work, it's harder to do, you probably don't even have the console, so there's nothing wrong at all with emulating on a PC. However, if you want a nearly non-compromised emulation experience on PC, I cannot recommend anything more than Emu VR. There's a flat screen version, but that ruins everything, so shut the fuck up. I'm talking about the VR version. While the price of entry is a bit unfavorable, if you have a PC VR headset, you can hook this bad boy up and experience emulation like it wasn't emulation at all. This gives you a full bedroom styled after the 90s with old CRTs, more modern TVs, and decorations galore to make yourself feel at home. You can even go out of your way to give custom spines and boxes to your games. While essentially emulation with extra steps, it's really great at being immersive. You put the CD or cartridge into whatever console, and there you're playing the game. It transfers onto the TV, and you just play it in this stylized bedroom. It's great, especially for retro games too, as you can bring in a CRT, which actually emulates the screen of them, visible pixels and all. It looks great, it truly does, and it's easily the best non-native experience for emulation. While there is a flat screen version, that defeats the whole purpose. Just use a regular emulator at that point. In conclusion, emulation is really awesome, and you should do it. Basic internet safety is at play, don't go around willy-nilly clicking links and whatnot, and make sure to do your research, as I barely scratched the surface on the actual process. Once you get everything set up though, emulation is one hell of a time. If you can't afford these games, just remember, emulation is always 100% morally correct. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.